Imagine this. You've just met the person you think you're going to marry. You've never seen their face. You've fallen in love through a wall. You've said yes to an engagement. And in a matter of weeks, in front of cameras, your family, and millions of strangers on Netflix, you're going to meet them at an altar and decide, in real time, whether you're actually going through with it. That's not a love story. That's a psychological pressure cooker. And yet, season after season, we watch. We root. We gasp. And we watch couple after couple either call it off at the altar, spiral through engagement, or sign the divorce papers 6 months later. Why? Why does a show literally designed to prove love is blind keep producing relationships that fall apart the moment people can see each other, and everything that comes with that? The answer isn't about compatibility. It isn't about editing. It isn't even about the people. It's about psychology. And once you understand what love is blind actually does to the human brain, the breakups stop being shocking. They become almost inevitable. Today we're going deep on 3 psychological forces that set these couples up to fail before they even leave the pods. Let's get into it. The pods create a love that was never real. It was a projection. Here's the first thing you need to understand about the Love is Blind pods. They are one of the most powerful romantic illusion machines ever designed. You have 2 people, isolated from the outside world, with nothing to do but talk. No phones. No distractions. No physical attraction clouding the picture, or complicating it. Just raw, uninterrupted emotional intimacy, hours a day, for 10 days. That sounds beautiful. But here's what's actually happening in the brain. Psychologists call it the illusion of intimacy, the idea that deep, fast, vulnerability-heavy conversation tricks the brain into believing a bond is stronger than it is. When we share secrets, fears, childhood wounds, hopes, our brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. The same one released between mothers and newborns. Between long-term partners. Between people who have built years of trust. In the pods, that process is dramatically accelerated. You're not building a relationship, you're simulating the emotional architecture of one. And your brain can't tell the difference. There's also something called the ideal partner effect. When we can't see someone, we fill in the blanks. Unconsciously. We build a version of them in our heads that is, frankly, perfect, because we designed them. Every quality they don't contradict, we assign to them. So by the time you get out of the pods and meet your fiancé face to face, you're not meeting them. You're meeting the gap between the person you imagined and the person standing in front of you. And that gap? That's where the relationship starts to crack. It's not that the real person is bad. It's that the real person is real. They have nervous habits. They chew loudly. They make a face you didn't expect. They disagree with you about something small and suddenly the fantasy starts to fray. What looks like incompatibility on screen is often just the collision of reality with a projection, and that collision is painful in a way that neither person fully understands in the moment. Trauma bonding plus extreme stress equals attachment that isn't love. Okay. So they get out of the pods. They meet. Some couples have that genuine spark, the physical chemistry matches the emotional one, and something real starts to grow. But then the show puts them on a vacation together. Then moves them into an apartment together. Then introduces them to each other's families. Then plans a wedding, all in the span of about 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Most relationship therapists recommend at least 1 to 2 years before marriage. Not because love can't happen fast, but because stress reveals character. You need time to see someone under pressure, across different circumstances, across conflict, across boredom, across the small daily frictions of a shared life. Love is Blind compresses all of that into a month. And here's what that compression creates: trauma bonding. That's a charged term, so let me be precise. Trauma bonding, in the clinical sense, is when people form intense emotional attachments under conditions of stress, uncertainty, and intermittent reward. It's the same mechanism behind why people stay in unhealthy relationships. The push-pull, the highs and lows, the intensity, all create neurological attachment even when the underlying relationship is dysfunctional. The love is blind timeline is, structurally, almost identical to the conditions that create trauma bonds. Extreme novelty. High emotional stakes. Constant uncertainty. The looming pressure of a public wedding. Cameras everywhere. Producers asking questions designed to surface conflict. The couple isn't just falling in love. They're clinging to each other through a shared ordeal. And when the show ends, when the cameras go away, when the timeline returns to normal, when ordinary Tuesday night life kicks in, the bond they formed under fire has to survive without the fire. And often, it can't. There's also the concept of misattribution of arousal, a classic psychological phenomenon where our brains attribute the excitement of a stressful situation to the person we're experiencing it with. You're nervous because you're on a reality show, but it feels like butterflies. You're flooded with adrenaline, but it feels like passion. Once the stress dissolves, some couples look at each other and realize, quietly, devastatingly, that what they felt wasn't love. It was the feeling of being alive in a high-stakes moment, with someone who happened to be there. Identity collapse. When the show ends, who are you to each other? This is the one people talk about the least, and I think it might be the most important. When you enter Love is Blind, you enter as an individual. You leave, if you said yes, as half of a public couple. That transition happens so fast, and under such artificial conditions, that most participants never have the chance to ask a fundamental question. Who am I in this relationship? And is that person someone I actually want to be? Psychologists who study relationships talk about the importance of self-expansion, the idea that healthy love should feel like your sense of self-growing, not shrinking. You take on new interests, new perspectives, new dimensions of identity because of this other person. That's one of the most powerful things a relationship can do for you. But self-expansion requires time, agency, and choice. You choose to adopt your partner's love of hiking. You choose to learn the thing they care about. You choose to let them change you. Love is Blind removes that choice. You go from strangers to engaged in 10 days. You're assigned a partner. You're assigned a timeline. You're assigned a narrative, by the show, by the edit, by the audience. You become the couple everyone's rooting for, or the couple with the red flags before you've had a single normal week together. That assigned identity creates enormous psychological pressure. Because now you're not just deciding if you love this person, you're deciding if you want to be the person who loves this person. In public. Forever. On the record. And when cracks appear, when the real incompatibilities surface, when the values don't align, when the daily life doesn't work, leaving isn't just ending a relationship. It's dismantling an identity that the whole world has been watching you build. Some people stay too long because of that. Some people leave and feel like failures. And some people, and this is the saddest one, realize at the altar, in front of everyone, that they were never choosing a partner. They were playing a role. And they just can't keep playing it. The altar isn't where the relationship ends. It's just where the ending becomes visible. So here's where we land. Love is Blind isn't broken because people are bad at love. It's a fascinating case study in what happens when we engineer the conditions of connection, accelerate the timeline, remove physical reality, add extreme stress and public scrutiny, and then expect something durable to survive on the other side. The pods create projections, not people. The timeline creates trauma bonds, not trust. And the public nature of the show forces people into identities they never had the chance to choose. None of that means love can't happen on the show. It clearly can. There are couples who've made it work, built real lives, raised kids. But those couples didn't survive because the format works. They survived in spite of it. Because they were lucky enough, resilient enough, and compatible enough to build something real under conditions designed, whether intentionally or not, to make that incredibly hard. The question Love is Blind actually asks isn't, can you fall in love without seeing someone? It's, can love survive being seen, by cameras, by the public, and by the harsh light of everyday life? And honestly, that's a question worth asking. Even if you've never been near a pod in your life. If this one got you thinking, I'd love to know, which couple do you think had the most psychologically fascinating arc? Drop it in the comments. I read everything. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of deep dive. And I'll see you in the next one.